Hello the internets, welcome back to Waifus. I'm Sefhi, your favorite gambling addict, and today we finally have the Power Ranger, the Black Power Ranger here to talk a little bit about the first impressions, how she's performing and how we're feeling about her. This is as usual a first impressions video, don't take it as a final review because it's not. And we have a few references to be running through, so all of them here. We just finished the stream, so let me actually close this. We just finished the stream, we were testing a little bit, Risa was testing a little bit, we're gonna be showing all the damage number comparisons in a moment, but I want to talk first a bit about her kit and how I'm feeling and, those initial impressions. So before we go into that, leave a like, subscribe, come to the channel, and I am going to be resetting her for a 777 instead. I do like the character, I think he's a good character, but I am not going for a 10-10-10. I think it's a waste of resources for what she has to offer at the moment. That said, what's going on with the Power Rangers? Sefhi, was what we were expecting actually true, right? Is she just like a Summer Sakura treasure and a DPS herself? So she's a good DPS herself. She's not a nice Summer Sakura buffer, and we'll show the damage later. I got pretty unlucky. I had to use all my rocks, 50 rocks, for 4 elemental, 3 attack. So 4 elemental, 3 attack, not awful. 1 LA there, LA attack in here with a hit rate, LA attack in here, nothing else. LA attack max ammo, pretty low max ammo, but it is what it is. I cannot afford to be rolling anymore. I need to save for the summer. 0 rocks for summer. I'm cooked, guys. I got her skill to 10-10-10, like I said earlier, to compare with my meta characters that are heavily invested. I was running her with either Resilience or Destruction Cube when we're doing Kraken, because it works. And she has a base copy, Affection rank 10, and a Doll Phase 0. Purple. I am not leveling it up because once again, next month we should be getting treasures, and the new Senti treasure is looking actually pretty good, so we have to wait for that as well. Now, after that, her kit is what we were expecting. It's a character that it's really good for bosses with parts, and she can sustain her Power Ranger form the majority of the fight. It might fall off like once or twice, but considering how many parts that are in Kraken, and even in Modernia Museum, she can almost 100% keep it up, which is great. But this applies only if you can actually, destroy parts, if you can keep rocking that. If not, her damage falls quite hard. Now, for some references. So I did Union Range, Modernia, Museum Solo Raid, and then Kraken. Let's start with Kraken. This was a 777 Ranger before I got her to 10-10-10. And in contrast to my SBS, which is still to this day the character with the highest investment on my account, right? She's my favorite girl, so she gets all the investment. Core 5, level 5 gear, 10-10-10 character. Pretty good lines as well in terms of what she has. So it's a pretty good character. And she was doing 2.3 versus 1.5 on a 777 Black Ranger. That is already decent. That is already decent. You guys have to understand that the difference in investment on these two characters, doing 1.5 is good. Oh, Sefhi, not that far off from Anis. Let's not compare anything to Anis, guys, okay? It's the best character in the game. Let's ignore Anis completely. So 1.5, pretty good. And then I was like, okay, let me take her to 10-10-10 instead, and then we can keep testing. So I took her to 10-10-10, and she was doing 1.7 versus 2.2. Again, not the best team for SBS nor the Black Ranger, but a pretty good comparison. 1.7 versus 2.2 is actually pretty nice. It's a character that on bosses with parts can be used, can compete, can put out good damage numbers. I feel she's like a team 3, team 4, depending on what you're doing, because your team 1 for win will be SBS Liberalio. Your team 2 most likely is going to be Wind Asuka. Maybe you can put her now in here as well for this team 2, right? But it depends what you're doing. So a team 2-3 is what I expect her to be in. Then I put Summer Sakura. I was like, okay, can Summer Sakura deal good damage? We were not able to clear. We ran out of time, almost fully cleared Kraken, but we could not clear. And Summer Sakura was doing 1.2 while being buffed by the Power Ranger. And my Summer Sakura is not a mega investment, but I like her. Like, it's a character that I do like, and she has, if I can find her right here, she has the gear at level 5. She's a 7-7 character. She has elemental in there with a pretty low one, hit rate and nothing else, and then attack. Pretty awful lines, right? Like, not amazing. I was gonna say not the worst, but honestly, could be almost the worst. Fucking awful lines. So Summer Sakura, even with semi investment, is not a good character at this point. In my opinion, Summer Sakura is a unit that you don't run unless you have heavily invested and you like her. That's it. And even with the buff, she's not performing that well. Now, EH, for example, as another comparison, as another entry point, my EH has a similar investment. So if we go into our new girl, by the way, her new skin looks fine, but I'm skipping. It does look good, nice ass, but it's just too many skins for this patch, so I'm skipping it. I'm getting Naga and I'm getting the Morang skin. So my EH has attack elemental, elemental in there, and elemental in there, right? I think it's a 4-4-10. That could be a lot more investment on EH, but it's what she gets at the moment, because again, he's not the character that I'm gonna be using outside of once every 2 months when they do solo raid week to win. And even with that investment, once again, pretty similar to Summer Sakura, 1.2 doing there, obviously SBS doing way more. I feel both Sakura and EH are characters that if you invest, they can be used for solo raids, but that's it. It's nothing else. Like, it's nothing else. And then for some reference, right, on a normal team with both SBS Leaf, a lot more damage, 2.1, 1.8, clearing in 2 minutes, which, by the way, literally is doing 1.8. And when we're running her here on a 10-10-10, my Black Ranger is doing 1.7. If you can keep destroying parts, she is a good DPS. I want to emphasize this. But at the same time, I want to also emphasize that this is a skip character. It's only for people who care about raids. You will not be bringing her to tower that often. And you could use her in tower, but at the moment, the Tetra Tower, it's carried simply by Anis, literally. Anis is what's carrying this tower. There is plenty of B3s you can still run alongside, be it your Alice, be it your Brithy, be it your Summer Alice even, depending on what you're doing, but I wouldn't pull for tower. It can be used, but it's not the main case. It's mostly for solo raids, not even union raids, it's solo raids. And then if we went into Babu Museum solo raid, and she was doing pretty well. On Museum solo raid, she did on a 3-minute fight, my Nayuta with really good investment, 1.1, SBS 1.5, Little Mermaid 1.3, Black Ranger 1.3. So, like I said multiple times during this video, it's a nice DPS if you can keep up destroying parts. If you cannot destroy parts, however, her damage goes down quite a bit. So this is Union range. It's still pretty respectable damage considering there is 0 parts to destroy in here. My Nayuta doing 7 billion, and is doing 4.2, and on elemental advantage for the Power Ranger, she's doing 6.2. These are not perfect teams or teams where she will shine the most. I'm just, showcasing basic stuff in here for the first impressions. So, pretty decent numbers. I like it. I like her quite a bit. Now, Sefhi, would I pull for her? Would you pull for her? Where would you put her on the tier list right now? If you were to place her, I'm not putting her anywhere yet. What I'm going to be doing most likely is moving Sakura down to T4. EH up to T3, and most likely the Power Ranger will be a T3 character as well. Good, but niche or less efficient to use. You have to invest heavily into her to get good performance, while also having the condition of needing parts consistently to keep up her Power Rangers with her transformation. So, kind of what we were expecting, I would say. I don't think anyone was expecting her to be meta, but we were expecting a nice damage dealer, and it's what we got. For the last time, I would not pull for her. The next character is Summer. First, there is a Summer rerun already, where you have plenty of characters you could be going for, right? That's already a lot of characters to pull for, plus a standard unit that will be going into the wishlist later, plus the new Summer event next month. I just cannot really recommend going for her, okay? As much as I like her design, I just cannot recommend going that. And then lastly, when it comes to her assets, she has good assets, but no good jiggle, so I'm gonna be leaning into a T3 on the placement for the asset tier list. I feel it's like Mori, like Novel, characters that have good assets, but it's not jiggling enough to fully appreciate it, right? To fully appreciate what's underneath. Enough going though. That's everything for the first impressions. That's how I'm feeling right now about her. Nice character. We're gonna keep testing probably for a few more days so we know what's going on. If you guys want to see a comparison with Risa, which is a big whale, with core 7 characters, so a core 7 heavily invested Summer Sakura versus a 1 copy Ark Ranger on Kraken. Summer Sakura is doing 2.5, while Ark Ranger is doing 1 billion, right? Then in here, which is the same thing, but just running SBS instead. Once again, a core 7 SBS, well invested, versus 1 copy, Black Ranger, 2.7 versus 900. And then on a normal run instead, right, instead of taking 2 minutes to clear, Risa takes around 1 minute 11 to fully clear with the Scarlet and Liberalia instead. I think it's a nice comparison to have with, you know, people with high level accounts, but at the same time, it's a nice comparison to have understanding that this is a heavily invested Summer Sakura. And, you know, we could even say, okay, Liberalia is doing only quote-unquote 1.3, while the Ark Ranger at base copy is doing 1 billion already. So, not a bad copy even in that situation. Risa doesn't like her, but, you know, the comparisons with the Core 7 fully invested and a base copy, I don't think is something that most people would care as much. That's it. That's enough for this one. As usual, we are live every single day. Any questions you guys might have, feel free to leave the comment down below. Good luck with your pool data rates if you decide to pull. I'll see you on the next one.